In this video, we show you the results of an attraction experiment conducted by Sean from the Hairguard team. Sean swiped 10,000 times on Tinder with two different profiles, one having male pattern baldness and one having healthy, thick hair. What do the girls say? Stay tuned to find out. One of the biggest worries of men that have started balding is whether or not women will still find them attractive. There are people that claim your hairline doesn't matter when it comes to attracting women, as well as others that say it matters a lot. Just browsing online, you will find many different and shocking views on this matter. As you can see on the screen now, people have strong and polarizing opinions on this subject. However, there has never been a rigorous scientific experiment to actually test these claims. Until now. So, we decided to determine if hair loss actually affects your chances with women with a careful, data-driven experiment. We wanted to find a convenient and effective way of gathering data from thousands of women, so we decided to use the infamous online dating app, Tinder. We started by creating two profiles of the exact same person. Same photos, same bio, everything. But one profile had a full head of hair while the other was balding. The guy was balding in the original set of photos, so we actually photoshopped him to create the profile with the full head of hair. Now what we did is we kept every single variable of the profiles constant except the hairlines, so that we could really test the effect of the different hairlines without other variables affecting the data. Now here are the Tinder profiles so you can really see the difference in hairlines. And here are the relevant photos up close so you can get an even closer look at the hairlines. Now once the profiles were set and in place, we changed the settings to show women within an age range of 18 to 30 and a realistic distance of 15 miles. Then what we did is we got busy swiping. Our aim was to reach 10,000 swipes per profile across 10 cities, making it 1,000 swipes per city. With 10,000 swipes, our data would be statistically significant to draw a solid conclusion. We managed to travel to every one of these different cities with the use of a Tinder Gold subscription, allowing us to change the location to wherever we wanted. Each profile had a different set of 10 cities to prevent confusion among women since the profiles were exactly the same. However, we swiped in the same countries or very similar ones to get the most accurate data possible. For example, London versus Paris and Moscow versus St. Petersburg. We stayed in each city for approximately 24 hours to gather as many matches as we could, then moved on to the next one on the list. Also, we swiped right on every single profile we came across to make the experiment as consistent as possible. Selectively swiping would have led to inconsistent and distorted data, since selection criteria such as attractiveness is very subjective. Now for each match we got, we waited 7 days to see if the girl would initiate a conversation. If they didn't start a conversation within the 7-day time frame, we would then initiate the conversation ourselves with a simple hi. We then waited another 7 days after that to see if they would respond. Now before we go into the results, if you are worried about your own hair loss, the Hairguard team have recently created a science-based in-depth video on the truth behind scalp tension and hair loss. We'll link it to you in the description, make sure not to miss it. Now let's get into the results. After going through the above process for all 20 cities, we went through the process of collecting as much data as we could. We started by counting the number of matches, conversations initiated by women, and replies to conversations initiated by us. We then broke down the data by profile and city. Finally, we sorted everything in a clean and organized manner. Here is a quick summary of our findings showing the main highlights from the data that we collected. Now you can see that the hair profile got significantly more matches, but the balding profile had a higher rate of girls opening along with a higher response rate. But overall, the hair profile had more girls opening and responding. Specifically, the hair profile had a 0.96 higher match rate, and the balding profile had a 5% higher opening rate and 5% higher response rate. You can also take a look at our more in-depth graphs in the blog post, which we'll link you to in the description, which breaks down each stat by each city. One interesting thing is that in terms of matches, the balding profile seemed to be more niche. He did very well in Russia and Santiago, but he was less popular in other cities, whereas the hair profile was more consistent in the major cities. There is a clear discrepancy between how many girls opened him in each city, with the hair profile being favoured. Now, you're probably curious to how some of the conversations went, so here are some of the highlights. We can see on the screen now a few of the messages from the balding profile. And now we can see a few of the messages from the full head of hair profile. Interesting stuff, right? Do you notice a difference between the two profiles? Well, it's quite obvious that the girls were much more eager towards the profile with a full head of hair. As you clearly saw, the number of matches, conversations initiated by girls, and replies were clearly tilted in favour of the man with the full head of hair. So, essentially, women do find men with a full head of hair more attractive. You can argue that that's not the case in every situation, but it is at least on Tinder and other similar dating sites as well. Well, why is this? We had a theory that having a full head of hair makes you appear younger, which also signals a whole range of other desirable traits to women. So what we did is we put this to the test, where we surveyed 1,000 people per profile to guess the age. We found that the average age guess for the balding man was 32.6 and 30.7 for the man with a full head of hair. A slight difference, but likely not too great, to indicate that looking younger is the reason for the discrepancy of success on Tinder. But overall, the man with the full head of hair had better results in terms of absolute numbers. Now, to sum it up, it's clearly better to have a full head of hair if you want to be more attractive in the eyes of women. Maybe it's super obvious, but an experiment was never done to back up the claim, until now. So if you ever had an argument with a friend about whether being bald or losing hair actually hurts your chances with women, you now have the answer. Now, that's not to say that you can't get women without hair, but it definitely helps. Now, don't forget to check out the video in the description to learn about how scalp tension plays a role in hair loss, and make sure to hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.